excited to be here with you guys today and to talk about the life you were born for. Your well-designed life. This talk is all about you. So get ready. You're going to want some paper and pencil in front of you because we're going to focus on you, on your being, not your business, right? But your person, why you came here, what you're doing, what you want to do with your life, how you want to design your life. And as designers and design experts, you know that if you want to create a beautiful design, they don't just magically appear. You have to stop, pause, reflect on what your client's needs are, their wants, their desires, their wishes, their dreams, right? And then you have to open up and let the inspiration come in for that design. You have to open up your creativity and let your magic happen for that design. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take that time on design for you. So like I said, get that paper and pad out or whatever you want, because we'll be working on that. We're going to do a few things today. The first thing is I'm going to talk about what does it mean, this life you were born for. We're going to talk about life paradigms that you've heard about. People have told you all your life probably what life is all about. I'm going to share a few of life's paradigms. Some of them you've probably heard before. Some you might be living at this moment. Some might sound crazy and outrageous. All good, right? Because then at the end of all these paradigms, you can still decide, just like a designer decides, do I want to use one of these existing design concepts I know about? Or do I want to come up with something totally different and new? Then I'm going to share with you a pivotal moment and experience I had in my life that changed my life paradigm dramatically and the entire trajectory of my life since that moment. Ooh, that sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? Then I'm going to give you a chance to really open up and design yourself. Open up, right, to your creativity, to your flow, to see what your being wants to have and experience in life right now. So we're going to do an exercise. I'm going to lead you through that. That's why I want you to have your paper and pencil ready, because after that exercise, you're going to be writing down ideas, thoughts, images, things like that. Then I'm going to share some tools and techniques and axioms that I've found really kind of bring your good life to be a great life. Or if you feel like you have a great life right now, to an extraordinary life. And if you have an extraordinary life, which I feel like I have right now, woohoo! It's a life beyond my wildest dreams. Wow, cool, can't wait to talk about that. So let's get started. The life you were born for, what does it mean? Well, the short answer is, it's up to you. The long answer is, there's an infinite possibilities and potentials for what your life could be. But it really is an individual choice, right? There's no best life, there's no one life, there's no greatest one best design. We get to do whatever we want and choose whatever we want as individuals. We also have the opportunity to redesign our life at any moment. So at any time you're feeling like, I'm not kind of liking this life very much right now, you can take out that blank piece of paper, that blank canvas again, and say, I just want to redesign it. I want something different. And sometimes you love something for a while until you don't, right? And then you need to look at that. And sometimes something calls you, whispers in your ear. All of a sudden you have this desire to do something else. You listen to that. So those are the things we're going to consider in designing our lives. Now paradigms, these paradigms I'm going to share, they're not comprehensive. Okay, I'm just going to mention a number of different paradigms that we've heard from our parents, we've heard from society, from friends, we've heard from the media, we've heard from our culture, right? This is kind of how life works here on this planet in some cases. Some of the things you're going to hear you might agree with, none of them are good or bad or right or wrong. They're just options. It's like optional designs. Some of them are going to sound crazy and outrageous. I've heard a couple new ones lately. I'm kind of excited to share with them. It's going to be fun. And so I'm just going to present these different life paradigms, and then we're going to, again, kind of look at it yourself in terms of what you want to utilize for your own design. So one paradigm of life is hard. And a lot of things happen in life, tough things, challenging things, and so you got to kind of strap on your boots and you got to just survive. Life's about survival. Another paradigm is life, if you work really hard, then you can kind of stop and get ahead, right? So you work hard and get ahead, so then you can stop and smell the roses, just kind of now and then. Just now and then. But if you have to work really hard to be able to do that. Another paradigm is if you work really hard and you work really smart and you save, then you can retire at 65 or 72 or whatever the new age is, right? And then have fun. Ooh, I remember hearing that as a young child and thinking, whoa, that sounds dreadful. And I'm like, it can't be true. But I heard some adults talking about it. Just stick it out, grind it out, you can do it. Life is tough, but you know what? If you work hard, you're smart, and you save, then you can retire, have some fun. Another paradigm is, if you work hard, then you can play hard. Ooh, I like that play word. And so if you work hard, and you work smart, and you save, then you can play intermittently during your life. And then, of course, again, when you retire, you can have a lot of fun, and you'll have more money. Right? And so, again, that work hard, play hard. And that's the paradigm that I came in on. I don't know where each of you came in on. Feel free to jot a note of any of these ring a bell so far. But I came in on that work hard, play hard. And so then I got married, and I married a man. I was like all on board with that life paradigm. Yeah, together. We're going to work hard. We're going to play hard. We're going to have fun. We're going to have great vacations. And then, you know, when we're 60, I thought 65, and now it's a 72, I don't know, whatever the age, then we'll retire and have fun. And so that's a paradigm. Then there's other paradigms like you're here to make a contribution. You're here to do something meaningful, to help the planet, to help the world, to create a better place than when you came. It's all about making a purpose. It's all about serving, helping and assisting others. That's why you're here. Another paradigm. You're here to follow your passion and do what you love. A lot of people don't like that one. I've heard that going on in the last few generations. They're like, huh, what? Another paradigm. You come down to this planet for a human experience with a mission. And in that mission, you're given certain kind of skills and talents and superpowers. And those superpowers are fun and you enjoy and you're really good at them. And then if you apply those superpowers in an environment that feels good and feels aligned and comfortable, and you're going to feel great and it's going to be meaningful and purposeful, and all of that, and you make the planet and world a better place. Sounds kind of cool. Another paradigm is life on Earth is meant to be fun. Have you ever heard that one? Life on Earth is meant to be fun. Life is meant to be fun. Life is meant to be magnificent. Life is meant to be extraordinary. Life is meant to be a grand, glorious adventure where you have lots of love and lots of joy and lots of fun and lots of abundance and great physical and mental well-being. And that you get to do the things that you delight in and you're excited about. That's what life's about. That's why we're here on Earth. Wow. Interesting paradigm. Another paradigm. The human being concept. I love that. When it first came into my view in life of like, we're a human and we're a being. Oh, we have being and we're human. Okay, that's kind of cool, right? So this concept is you are a being of pure love. And your being of pure love is connected to everything and to source and the universe and whatever that means to you. And your being has an opportunity to come down into physical form in a beautiful, wonderful body that's all uniquely your own, with your own talents, and has the opportunity to experience life on Earth in physical form. And really, all you have is 3 things to do while you're here in that form. One of them is to experience life. To just experience the beauty of it, the tastes, the smells, the sounds, the touch, the hug, the fun of life. Experience it. The second is to explore. This planet is so cool. There's so much to see. How many people like to do some traveling, world traveling? There are so many extraordinary things to explore, and topics and interests and concepts and books and all kinds of things. And so we're here to explore and create whatever enlivens us. Create and explore. Wow. You guys are all creatives. You're creating. You're here. You're doing that. And the third thing is You're here to expand beyond whatever's humanly been done before in human form. Whoa. I'm here on earth to expand beyond what any human has ever done before. What does that mean? And it was interesting, when I heard that paradigm and that concept, what got me was, when I was growing up, and I grew up in a family that had lots of sports. And so we have lots of sports analogies and things like that. And I remember when we talk about, can you do this? Can you do this? Is it possible? And it's like, well, no, it's hard, or I can only go this far, I can only do this much, I'm only this tall, I'm only this strong, these kinds of things. I remember my parents saying, no, you can do anything. You can go beyond whatever's been done before. Doesn't matter if you're short and you want to play basketball, you can play basketball. Doesn't matter if you're this and you're not that, you can do it. And they use the example of the 4-minute mile. They said for years, nobody could break a 4-minute mile, right? It's not humanly possible, we were told. And guess what? It was broken in the 1950s, right? And it's been broken by thousands of people since then. And so I would be reminded of examples of, don't ever let someone tell you you're a human being and it's not humanly possible. We're limited, because we're not. We also were told we couldn't put a man on the moon, and we could probably come up with another 50 examples of what we were told was impossible as a human. And so for me, I got really intrigued by that concept of that we're here to expand our experience on this planet as humans and do what's never been done before. Because we can. So, interesting paradigms. Let me share the story with you that was very pivotal for me. And this happened many years ago. So at that time, I'm married, I have 2 children in grade school, and I have my consulting business, and I love doing management consulting. It's really fun, just like many of you. I love doing design work, it's really fun. And then you start to get really good, and you start to get referrals, and then all of a sudden you got a lot of calls, right? And you've got a lot of business. And so here I am doing it by myself with maybe, as a couple of outsourced sources, and all of a sudden people keep calling me, can you do this job, can you do that job, help in this company, and help in that company. So I'm taking on a lot. But I'm loving what I do, but I'm taking on a lot. And then I have a business trip coming up, and it was that night, that the trip was like the next day, and I was flying out. And I had so many things I had to get done before the trip. And it was also really close to the holidays, almost kind of like now, where it's like, okay, what am I gonna do for Thanksgiving? Do I have some decorations? Are people coming over for Christmas? Do I have to get the kids Christmas presents? All these things are going through my head, right? So it's like my job, tons of deadlines, things that have to get done, things that I have to do, my family, the kids, I'm going away on a business trip, I need to make sure that they're all taken care of for school. And I'm just really in that state of complete overwhelm, and I'm like, I don't think I can get everything done. You ever had that feeling? Maybe you had it right before you came here. It's like, I don't think I can get, and it was really, I felt really bad, and mad. I was mad, felt bad, like, I don't think I can get everything done. What's gonna happen? Like, I don't know what I know I can't do it all, so I have to let something go, and I don't know what to let go, right? And I'm just like, in that state. It's just like, and I can't even remember all the things I'm supposed to remember, but I have to get on a plane tomorrow, and I got my bag packed, and I gotta meet these deadlines, and I gotta write these reports and do these things. So at the end of that day, I'm going to bed that night. And a friend of mine had given me a book that year, and it was called A Year with Rumi. And Rumi is a 13th century Persian poet. He's also considered the most widely read poet on the planet, which is amazing. And interesting. So when she gave me the book, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. I like poetry. I like, opening. And I thought, well, she goes, this is kind of a nice book. You put it on your nightstand, and then before you go to bed, you read, an excerpt, one day. It's like 365 days in there, and put you in a good mood when you go to bed. And I say, okay, great. So I've been doing that all year and enjoying Rumi. And so that night, I'm going to bed. I'm like, I pick up Rumi. I always open to any random page there is. And I open up to this page, and it says, there's only one thing you need to do while you're on earth. Just one thing. And if you do that one thing and nothing else, no worries, everything's great. But if you don't do that one thing and you do everything else, your life has no value. And I went, whoa, what's that one thing? And I thought, And then, of course, this is like a metaphor. I said, I'm going to put this book down, and I'm going to ask what that one thing is. Because I'd hate and I was thinking, there's so many things. I'm doing so much. I'm doing so much for my business and my clients. And yes, I love helping my clients be more profitable, efficient, effective, happy, all those things. But I also have my whole family to take care of, right? And all these other areas. And so I put the book down, I close my eyes, and I say, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to connect to my inner self, and I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to say, what's the one thing that I must do in this life? And immediately an answer came. And the answer was, be love. Out of nowhere, right? You know what that's like. Be love. And I thought, wow. First I was impressed, like an answer came immediately out of nowhere. I was like, whoa. And then be love, I thought to myself, I'm a loving person. You guys, people that know me, it's like in general, I'm kind of a loving person. Like, I'm okay, I'm kind of a loving person. And then the answer came again. Be love in every moment. In every moment. Be love in every moment. And I started to cry. It still makes me cry whenever I tell this story. I started to cry because as I was getting ready for this trip and working under the stress and deadline of all of these projects and things, I wasn't very nice the past day or two to my family, the people that you love the most, right? I was short, I was curt, I was directive, I was bossy, I wasn't patient with my kids. I didn't take an extra time to give them a smile and a hug. It was like, mommy's in stress mode. Step back. It'll be okay, kids. And so I just thought, whoa. And not that you could say this is random, maybe this isn't real, whatever. But what's interesting is when you get a knowing, when you hear a message for yourself and you feel it in every cell of your body, you know it's truth. So for me, that message for this individual human that came to this planet, it was real, it was truth. And so I had to go to bed because I got to get that plane the next morning. And I said to myself, I need to change my life. I want to be love in every moment. I don't want to just be a loving person. I want to be love. I want to show up as love. I want to be that. And I can't be that with these many clients. I can't be that making these many dinners and these many decorations and buying this many presents and having this many holiday parties. I can't. And it was really clear. And so I said, okay. And that's when I started to sit down and redesign my life and say, my life was like this. I'm like, I need to bring it in, and I need to keep bringing it in until I can be love in every moment. And we all know what that's like. Like, for the most part, we're all good, right? We're like living life, we're doing things, we're feeling good. But there's a moment when too many things get added, and you can't be your normal loving self. So that was a very pivotal moment in my life. Now, I'd like to have you take this moment to look within yourself. Everybody's answer to what life's about, to what their grand and glorious adventure in life is going to be different. But I'd like you to kind of take a moment to look into yourself. You might have thought about those different paradigms. Maybe you're living some. Maybe there's others I haven't talked about that you're living. Maybe you thought, some of these were kind of interesting. Maybe I might want to think about that. But you get that option. So we're going to do the next phase. The first step is pause. Second step is reflect on your needs, your wants, and options. And then the third step is to really open up, right, to the inspiration. So we're going to do a little bit of that in this exercise now. So if you have a paper and pen in front of you, I'm going to ask you to move your chair back away from that because we're not going to use that for a moment. Because to connect with your higher intelligence, with the infinite wisdom within, you need to kind of be relaxed, and you need to be out of your head and into your heart, okay? And so some of you, I'm sure, have done this before, but I'm going to lead you through kind of a little exercise where you can ask that question for you, right? Ask that, what is your life you were born for? What is the life you want to design for yourself right now that feels grand and glorious? Like, wow, I get to have a marvelous, extraordinary life. I never really thought I could be marvelous and extraordinary. I can have a life beyond my wildest dreams. How do I even do that? What does that look like? And I want to encourage you, as you do this exercise, to think beyond the limitations, okay? Just don't limit yourself with like, the way my life is now, I kind of have to do this, right? I want you to just, for this moment only, you can go back to whatever paradigm you want after this talk, but for this moment, I want you to say, if I could do anything, if I could live any way, if I could, whatever it is, that's what we want to come to. I want to hear, and you want to hear, what your soul, what your heart is saying. And some of you may have been hearing little messages in your ear already, right? Little callings to do this, to do that, to take time off, to do this, whatever they are, right? We're going to listen to them now, and we're going to bring that out as part of the design. So now we're all sitting here. I'm going to ask you to kind of relax a few minutes. As you're sitting in your chair, we're going to relax. In a moment, we're going to close our eyes. We'll take a few deep breaths. And then I'll ask you to think about this, think about that. I'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll open our eyes. And then you'll write down the answers when you're done. So, okay, so we can close our eyes. I'm going to take a deep breath. And with each exhalation, just relax your body. Begin to feel your face relax and your arm relax, legs relax. And then with each inhale, I want you to think about your inhaling love. And as you inhale love, it fills your lungs and your chest, and it trickles down your arms and your torso and your legs and your body. And you're inhaling that love, and it's going throughout your entire body. And then you're exhaling joy back out into the universe. Inhaling love and exhaling joy, just relaxing. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness to your feet, to the soles of your feet. We're kind of moving out of our head and our thought process into our feet for a moment to just kind of ground us into what our heart's desire is for our life at this time. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness back to your heart region. And I'd like you to visualize your heart for a moment. And you can visualize it any way you want. It could be a human heart. It could be a heart shape. Any way you like. And you're in your heart. And you're continuing to inhale the love. Oh, it feels so good. Exhaling the joy. And I want you to visualize your heart opening. Oh, it just opens a little bit. Opening up a little bit. You're relaxed, your heart is opening. Okay. Now I'd like you to think about something you've done recently that's been joyful for you, a joyful time or experience you've had. It could be here at the conference, it could be at home, it could be work, it could be anything you want, but some time that you were doing something and you were feeling really joyful. Just kind of bring that movie back into your mind for just a moment and kind of play that movie in your head. It could be the face of one of your children or playing with a pet. It could be a hug. It could be a smile or conversation you had. And see what that looks like. And then you can't help but smile while you're thinking of that joy. And as you tune into that feeling of just joy that you were experiencing in that moment, I want you to check in with your body. How does your body feel? Do you feel an energy, a tingling or aliveness in your body? Does it feel differently with this joy? Is your heart opening more in the state of joy that you're in? Okay, now I want you to let that picture go. And I want you to think about what would be a life you were born for right now, if it could be any kind of life. If in this moment you could have any kind of life you want, what would it look like? What would it feel like? What do you see? And just picture anything you want. Again, it could be work, it could be non-work, it could be with your family. Oh, what kind of life is in your dreams? What kind of life and calling could you do right now if it was anything, if anything was possible? You see the beauty of life, you feel the love of life, you feel a sense of freedom in life, peace, harmony, joy. What does that life look like for you right now? We're taking the time for you right now to think about the life you would like to have, the life you were born for. Your well-designed life right now, because you and your spirit and your being came here and it has a desire. So there are things that delight you and excite you. And we want to do those while we're here. Okay, we're going to let that go for a moment. And now we'll just ask the question in case an answer pops in. Is there one thing that on earth that you need to do? What is the one thing on earth you need to do? And it doesn't matter if you do anything else. It's just that one thing. For you, is there one thing that you must do? Okay, now sense into how you're feeling at this moment, and then we're going to open our eyes and we're going to bring that wonderful feeling you're feeling right now into the room. And we're going to keep that feeling. And isn't it interesting that as we bring ourselves to that level of relax, that level of joy, as we think about those fun experiences and this grand and glorious life that we can have, what it feels like to be in that space. Feels very interesting, doesn't it? So take a moment, open your paper and pen, jot down thoughts, ideas, images, colors, right now that came to you during that exercise. This is the time for you. We don't have to do it later. Right now, we are looking at designing your well-designed life. The life you were born for. That's what we're doing right now. Your grand and glorious life. The life you were born for. What do you want it to be? Beyond your wildest dreams. And I'm going to stretch you for a moment. And we're going to say, I want you to answer this in the context of just you. I know many of you are probably married or have partners or in relationships and things like that. And you and your partner, I'm sure, have overlapping, right, life paradigms that together you share and you explore while you're here together as partners. But there may be some things about you that your soul is different. I know I am. Me and my partner, we have some differences. And so part of my soul's desire and excitement and joy of living on the planet has some differences than theirs, right? And so I want to make sure that when my soul's here, as I'm only here for a limited time, that I have this chance to do everything that I'm feeling as well in an unlimited way. So I want to make sure that when you do your list, you're thinking about that and expanding that as well. Okay, so as we know as designers, we're starting, right? When you sit down to write a design with a blank piece of paper, you start and then it's not done in 1 hour or 45 minutes, right? Things kind of percolate. You kind of get it going. You kind of open up that creative energy. You kind of invite that in, and then like over the next few hours, the next few days, the next few weeks, things will kind of percolate and become more clear. So, good start. We got that there. Now I'm going to share with you some of these ideas about, how your life goes from good to great, right? To great to extraordinary, etc. And I want to start with the first one, which is really deciding what you want. You have to decide the one thing. You got to start with something. And Luann has talked about this. Many of the speakers have talked about this. What's the one thing you're going to do? You need to just pick a thing and then believe it's possible. So I want to be love in every moment. I picked it. I thought, I want to do that. I want to try that. And life's so fun because you get to experiment and try things out. And what if I kept in the forefront of my life, be love in every moment? And it was interesting. I thought, well, people will say, well, it's not humanly possible, right? We're humans. We have all different emotions. That's not possible. But again, I go back to the 4-minute mile. Anything's possible. And then I went to this workshop, and this man was on stage, and he talked about the frequency of joy. And he said, there's a frequency of joy that's always available to everyone in every moment. And I thought of it like this, it's a frequency. It's like right there, there's that frequency. And he said, at any time in your life, at any moment, you can tap into that frequency of joy. And I thought, this is interesting. It's not like you have joyful, fun experiences, and then when you're in it, that's great, and they just happen as they happen. But there's joy is always available to us, and we can tap it into it at any moment. And he lifted his finger up like this, and he goes, it's right there. And when he did this, it's right there thing, the finger, I'm like, I felt it. I felt joy. And what does joy feel like? Well, I'm sure it feels different for everybody, but it's a sense of well-being. It's just like this feeling in your body that just kind of feels good. Just like a little tingly, like feels good. I'm like, okay, maybe I tapped into it, just randomly. And so then he talked about how, you can actually be in a frequency of joy all the time. And you could live life like that all the time. And I'm like, I like this idea. And then he said, actually, psychologists have talked about how people that are severely depressed, and I actually have had close family that have been in that state of severe depression, where it's just like, there's just like nothing you can do. It's just so hard when you're outside of that, right? And they said even severely depressed people have been able to tap into joy in that state of severe depression. And I thought, wow, okay, this is kind of, it's not just one guy, it's not just someone he said it, it's like there's research, the psychologists are talking about it. Okay, this is interesting. So I'm going to try that, okay? And so I made that thing, right? I picked my one thing. I'm like, I want to be in a state of joy at all times. I want to be love in every moment. And I'm going to try and do that. And he talked about how do you do that, right? So he said, first of all, you want to be able to tap into it. You want to increase the amount of time. So how many minutes a day are you in joy? That's kind of a scary question sometimes, right? It's like, in joy, in that state. You could say, I don't know, an hour, 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Do you do things that are fun and joyful in your life every day? What do you do that's joyful every day? So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to start with doing what I do with joyful, and then work on extending the periods of joy, right, to longer periods, and then also making a point to check in with myself a couple different times a day, like, oh, am I in the frequency? Oh, if I'm not, bring myself there, okay? And just see if I can just kind of randomly, over time, tap in and out of it as I go. And one of the things you start with is, what is something that is actually a joyful activity for you? Is there something in your life that when you do it, whatever it is, it's fun, it's joyful? For me, it happened to be walking in nature. I was someone that liked to take walks every day, and so I said, okay, when I'm taking my walk every day, which I used to take a walk for, whether it be 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, an hour, I'm going to just be in the moment and be in that state of joy. And then I decided I was going to increase my walking time to be in joy longer. So my walks would go beyond, 30 minutes or an hour to like a 2-hour walk, right? And as you're walking, any walkers in the room? As you're walking and hiking, you're enjoying nature, but sometimes your mind drifts, right? It drifts to, what you have to do, right? The future. It drifts to the past. You kind of get distracted. So I'm having a nice time walking, and then like seeing the plants, seeing the squirrels and the birds and the nature, and going, oh wow, isn't this great? This is so wonderful. And then I'll start thinking of something. Usually when I do that, some bee buzzes me or some bird like dive bombs me. And then I say to myself, that's the universe bringing me back to the present. Because one of the things I also learned from some psychologists is that sometimes people that are depressed spend a lot of time in the past, and some people that have a lot of anxiety are spending a lot of time worrying about the future, and that joy is in the present moment. And so I said, okay, so I'm going to go on these walks, and I'm going to stay present. And what stay present means is I'm just in the moment. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm just here now, right? Experiencing what it is. And I made it kind of like a personal mission, like, could I go on a whole walk without ever thinking past or future? Could I actually stay present in every moment? This is how fun life is. We get to do whatever we want to do, right? We get to experiment and craziness. And so I do that until I get to a place where I'm like, yeah, I think I just did that whole 1-hour walk, enjoy. And then I go home, and I open the door, and my husband says, did you get those things done I asked you to do? I'm like, no. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, snap back into it. Don't go there. No, honey, not yet. Come back into the joy. So just kind of outlining one technique of this idea of there is a frequency of joy. There is something that if you decide to do and play with it, experiment with it, have fun, you can do it. Now I'd like to give you a few more axioms. These are just kind of phrases or things that if you keep in mind or operate under this paradigm, your life changes dramatically. And this is where I've seen dramatic changes. Like I said, really, really big. The first axiom is no judgment. Now, no judgment, and again, what I would do is I would hear these axioms, and if it resonated with myself, then I would try it out. If it didn't resonate, whatever. Or it sounds kind of interesting, but I'm just not ready for that yet. Okay? So the no judgment one, I liked it, it sounded good, it felt good. And so no judgment means you judge a number of different things. First off, you judge people. So the judgment that we place when we say, why did so-and-so do that? Why didn't they do this? Why weren't they thinking that? It's time and judgment, right? Can you believe that they did this? Can you believe that they did that? That's a lot of mental energy, physical and emotional energy, putting into judgment, as opposed to, oh, they did that. They're a human. They're entitled to their own life experience on the planet. They did that. No judgment. Wow, I saved myself so much time. Right? And then people tell you, not only do people judge, but they tell you about their judgments. They engage you in conversations about judgments, right? Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you. Don't you agree? Judge with me. Join my judging. All right? Now we're all judging. This is good. And it was really fun for me because I realized that, wow, there's a lot of time spent in judgment of others. And I'll tell you, if you do try this one out, it's not that easy, okay? And it's okay because you catch yourself. But I just made the whole thing a game. I'm like, this is going to be fun. I am not going to judge anyone. If I do, I'll just immediately see it and become aware of it, and then I'll move out of it. And if people bring up their judgment stuff, I'll just kind of, and I just don't really say anything, really. On occasion, I might go like, I can understand, but I'm like, no, don't engage. So that's the non-judgment of people. Right there, you want to talk about more joy? Eliminate all that. How much more time do you have for joy? Pretty good amount. Second thing, judge what happens in the world. Judge circumstances. I was late. It rained. It's that. My flight was delayed. They didn't have the right room for me. Whatever these things are. And then the judgment of what happens. What is. It just is. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it terrible? Is it whatever? It just is. So your flight's delayed. It's delayed. Just is. Okay. So it's raining. For the 3 days I plan to go to New York City and go all over the park and go out to nightclubs every night and visit all the rooftops. It just rained for 3 days. We had a great time. This just happened a month ago. We were walking in the rain with our umbrella in Central Park. It was so cool. We were the only ones on the rooftop because it was raining. And so again, I'm playing with this. I'm like challenging myself. I'm like, it just is, right? So now I'm not judging the people. I'm not judging what comes up. Anything comes up, whatever, it's okay, it just is. And I'm noticing a freedom from it. Wow, I just felt freer. I have more time. I have more space. I have more joy because I'm not spending it and getting bummed and all those other feelings. And I thought I was doing pretty good. Then the last area of judgment comes. We all know what that is? Judge yourself. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for that. And so I'm like, I don't judge myself. I'm not really that kind of person. And then I'm like, okay, but we're going to focus on this, Eileen. We're just going to be sure that you're in full alignment to the no judgment concept. I'm like, okay. And then you notice when judgments come up. And you just notice, it's okay. I just don't stay with it, right? So it's like it comes up, you notice it, you let it go. So again, this is all a practice, but I'll tell you, doing this practice has changed my life dramatically. So much more time. It's amazing. Now I'm going to go on to the next one because that's even better. It's called easy and effortless. My life is easy and effortless. Now just take that phrase. And when I heard it, someone use it, I'm like, that sounds cool. I want an easy and effortless life. Everything I do is easy and effortless. I'm telling you this is the concept, right? So I'm adopting that concept, I tell myself. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to see how it goes. So everything that comes up in my life, I tell myself is easy. My life is easy and effortless. I get to come up and give talks. They're easy and effortless. I get to do all these things. Different things come up. I tell myself everything's going to be easy and effortless. And I'm just trying. And sometimes it's the end of the day and I have to write an email or do a thing and it does not feeling easy and effortless. And I'm aware of the feeling in my body like, writing this email doesn't feel easy and effortless. Making this phone call doesn't feel easy and effortless. And then I told myself, that's okay. Why don't you can you make it the call tomorrow? Can you write the email then? Maybe after dinner you'll have more energy, feel differently. Take a walk, take a nap. If it's not feeling easy and effortless in the moment, don't do it. I'm like, ooh, I like this. What can I get away with? I only do easy and effortless. And seriously, this build and the momentum, it's amazing. And it's just a mindset. And so then, testers come up, and it will continually to come up. And so I had a trip coming up, and the trip was my first trip alone, flying into London, going to Glastonbury. then flying to Ireland, Dublin, and then flying to Scotland, Edinburgh. So I'm flying by myself. I'm meeting groups of friends in the first two countries. I've got it all set up to meet friends. But I don't really know how the logistics of like, how am I going to, where am I going to stay, whether it's hotels or Airbnbs, or how am I going to get there in terms of transportation, cars or airports. But I know I'm on the fly. And the Scotland thing, we'll see what happens. And normally I'm a planner. I'm a planning kind of person. I like to have an agenda and a plan. I'm the person that books all the hotels, books all the places you're going to go, what sites you're going to see, all that. And at one moment, as I was getting ready for this trip, I'm like, is this a lot? And I'm like, no, easy and effortless. Everything, easy and effortless. I'm like, okay, I'm going with the easy and effortless. Let it be that. Let it be that. Just by saying, I want to live a life. I want to live the easy, effortless paradigm. I'm just deciding to do it. It became that. And the trip was easy and effortless. It was crazy. It was like, okay, you could fly into London and take 3 different, a train here and a bus there and then whatever. And I'm like, or you could just taxi or Uber. You could, how am I going to get from the airport in England to Ireland? I don't know. And then someone says, hey, I'm out there. I don't even know how I'm going to get to the next place. And someone says, I'll drive you over to the airport. I'm like, cool. And then I'm in Ireland, and I'm like, well, I'm flying out of Edinburgh in a week. I'm not sure where I'm staying yet or what I'm going to do, but that's my plan. And again, one of the people in Ireland said, oh, I stay at this great hotel in Edinburgh, and you should stay there. And by the way, I'll take you to the airport, and you'll have a great time. And then someone calls me from England and says, hey, I'll meet you in Edinburgh, and we'll spend a couple days together. Whoa. It was easy and effortless. Crazy. So love that one. Okay, we only have time for one more. Maybe 2 if I just give you short questions. Next one is, everything in life is happening for you, for your greatest and highest good. You might have heard that. Again, these are just paradigms. I'm just trying them out and playing with them because why not, right? And so I'm like, I like the way that sounds. Sounds good. And so when things come up, no matter what it is, I just tell myself that phrase. And then I think, well, there's lots of times in life where things happen and we don't know now that they were a good thing, right? We find out later. I didn't get that job or that client, but then later on we're glad we didn't because we got a better one, right? Or, we didn't get that house we wanted to buy, but then someone else bought it, but then we found out we got a better one last time. All these things, that guy you thought you liked or that woman you thought you liked. No, I'm just kidding. In any event, so it's that concept of everything is happening for me for my greatest and highest good, and I'm just choosing to believe that. Because I could choose to not believe that and be really bummed and down and depressed, but again, why? And also it's kind of fun to think up some really crazy, lofty, potential reason that could be for the greatest and highest good. And I think of my aunt and family in the back that just had their flight canceled, the whole flight's canceled, and then they got to find a new plane to get to the new place, to get to the thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it was for their greatest and highest good. There's got to be a reason in there. Maybe the plane just wasn't a good plane. Good thing they didn't get on it, because who knows, it could have crashed. In any event, what's happening for your greatest and highest good? The last one is choiceless. Choiceless, I only do things that are choiceless. And just that phrase, that concept, I'm going to live a life where I only do things that are choiceless. And so again, I'm trying these things out. And so the choiceless idea is that, you know that feeling of when someone says to you, do you want to do something? And you're like, absolutely. Every cell of your body is like, yes, I want to do this. This is going to be great. That's choiceless, right? When you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. You're not feeling it, right? But when you want it, you're like, absolutely. So I'm like, I'm going to operate my life that way. Something's not choiceless, I'm not going to do it. And so it's really been kind of fun, honestly, because my life is just more enjoyable. And I realize that there's responsibility with choiceless, right? And that other people can be impacted. My girlfriend says, do you want to go with me here? And I say, no, thanks. Doesn't feel, I'm not saying, don't thanks, it's not choiceless. I just say, no, thanks for the offer, it sounded great, right? And things will come up that'll make those kinds of decisions. People will call you, can you help me with this? And I'll just check in. And I'd love, someone gave a great example today of like, you don't have to say yes to everyone that calls. You have to say yes to yourself first, right? So I check into myself first on what's choiceless, and then I operate that way. So I've been doing that, and again, I feel like my life is happier. Like the things I do, I'm choosing to do happily and joyfully. It's like, whoa, I didn't know we could operate this way on the planet. No one told me. No one told me that life was meant to be fun, and I could do the choiceless things I want. It was going to be easy and effortless. It's sounding pretty cool, isn't it? This is where that grand and extraordinary life comes in. So the other aspect of choiceless that I've kind of extended out was obviously to my husband. And we talked about this choiceless concept because sometimes he'll say, can you come with me to go do this? And I'll just be like, no, not feeling choiceless. He loves it when I go grocery shopping or to, something like Trader Joe's or Costco or something like that. And I'm like, no, it's not choiceless. So we start talking about choiceless. He starts talking about choiceless, and he understands the concept. And one of the wonderful things about us in our 38-year marriage is that we always saw each other as partners in life on this grand and glorious adventure together. And that we're here to support each other on the grand and glorious adventure of life. But that was, so it's support and love. It's not like you have to do everything I want and I have to do everything you want. So he's fully on board with the whole choiceless thing. And again, it's so beautiful to see, because I have memories of earlier times this year before we got into this whole choiceless kick, which has been just lately, and it's been really great, where he would go and he didn't want to go. And you know what it's like when you're with someone that doesn't really want to be there. I'm going for you. I know you like this. I'm going for you. I'm like, well, we're going to have a great dinner tonight. I'm out at my favorite restaurant with the best food and wine there is. And he's like, and I'm here for you. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want another night like that. Right? And I remember a couple of Mother's Days and Father's Days where like the kids show up and we're like doing the things and they're like, they don't want to be there. I'm like, it's Mother's Day. You should be happy. Smile. You're with me. And they're not, because they don't want to do the things. And so it's been so fun because we've extended it out, right? We've extended this choicelessness out to like anybody. My mom, all of us, we were all like, we're into choiceless. And so last story, my brother Bob comes out for my birthday, which is unusual, from New York City. And he says, it's your birthday. We're coming out to celebrate you and have fun with you. And I'm like, great. What are we going to do? What do you want to do? You're coming from New York. He's like, whatever you want. And I'm like, really? I mean, when was the last time someone says, like, whatever you want? I'm like, do you want me to be honest? He's like, yeah, whatever you want. I'm like, okay. I'm going to tell you what I want for my birthday and want to do for my birthday. And I'm feeling my full, like, grand and glorious life. Yes, right? And I say, and I want all the family to know. I have my brother Patrick, my mom, my brother Bob, his wife, my 2 kids, my husband. I want everyone to know that if it's not choiceless to go to any of these birthday activities, let's make it a weekend. No problem. You don't have to come. Okay? Because I don't want anyone coming to any of these events that isn't absolutely choiceless. And so the first event was we're gonna walk around Poway Lake. It's a beautiful lake out in San Diego, and it's a 3-mile loop. And after that, I want to ride a power boat. I've never driven a power boat before. These little ones, they're no big deal around this little lake. But I've walked the lake for 5 years, and I've seen people boating, and I want to ride a power boat. And so, who wants to come attend that piece? The next piece is we're going to a winery. I love wine. And we're going to have a fabulous lunch at the winery. And it's going to be delicious, and we're going to taste, and it's going to be great. And then the next event is I love to go dancing. I love dancing. I'm like, I want to go to a club in San Diego. I want to get bottle service. I want to make it fun. We're going to go, ah! And so, of course, the family's like, whoa, we asked her what she wanted to do. It's kind of crazy, right? And so I'm like, okay. So certain members of the family did certain activities, right? Everyone was up for the boat ride. Now everybody wanted to do the long lake. Some of the family members liked the idea of the winery lunch. Some didn't. Some people wanted to go. Actually, the whole gang came to the club. Even my mom back there. Woohoo! We were dancing and having a great time. But not everybody stayed long. They wanted to see like a club. We haven't been to a club in San Diego. We haven't been to a club in years. I thought people your age don't go to clubs. I'm like, they do now. So those are just a few examples of new paradigms that you can try out, that you can play with. And so I'm so thankful to be here with all of you today and to share this time together where you got a chance to look at you. And I just invite you to just step into this marvelous, this amazing opportunity we have to live on this planet, in this life, this time, and love every minute of it. So thank you all very much.